Hey guys, this is Nate Hale here with Rapscallion Brigade, and an article caught my eye today, and I thought we would check it out. It might be time to rethink difficulty menus, and this is from Kotaku. It's Ethan Gach or Gatch, whichever one. If somebody knows which way that's said, just leave it in the comments. I don't want to mispronounce anybody's names, but it looks like Ethan Gach. That's what we're going to go with. Maybe it's Gatch. Not sure. Anyway, Ethan brings out some points about difficulty menus. And I will just read what he says. You can have your own take about it, I guess. But he says, this is the difficulty menu for Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. In a callback to the original games, which also showed up in the New Order, the menu is telling you only babies play the game on easy. It's funny on the surface, but also an insidious kind of peer pressure. Don't listen to it. I don't know what he's talking about here. I mean, are you seriously feeling pressured or somehow having your feelings hurt because the way this difficulty menu is designed? I mean, it's themed a certain way because of the game. And a lot of the games like this have these styles of difficulty menu, they all kind of put forward the same notions about if you play on the easier settings, then you are, well, here he's shown here as a baby, or you're somehow a wuss if you play on the easier settings, and that's all well and good. I understand that's that's in there for a specific reason, that it's designed that way. And it's a little joke, yes, it's a little funny, but it's not something that I'm going to lose any sleep over. As a matter of fact, when I played Wolfenstein 2, I didn't want to have too difficult of a time. I can play on some of the harder levels, but it's not fun for me. It's not as fun. I bought a game like this because I wanted to see the story. It was a single-player focused, story-based first-person shooter, and I wanted to support that. So I bought this game day one, and I played it. And I played it on this difficulty setting. Can I play Daddy? Now, I could probably hack it on some of the harder settings, but the reason I played it on this difficulty setting was because I wanted to see the game and enjoy it. To me, it's not fun for me, even though I'm capable of it. It's not fun for me to have to play on the harder settings. You still get a fairly good challenge, even on the easiest setting. You don't lose anything from the game. He's gonna talk about maybe some of the differences in a minute, but he says, don't listen to that kind of peer pressure. Second paragraph here. At first I did, which is why I spent half of Wolfenstein 2 completely miserable, playing on Bring 'em On, the game's normal difficulty. I spent hours dying to Nazis hidden in the far corners of my TV screen, or downed ones who I'd previously unloaded on but apparently didn't register the kill shot. In the middle of these frenzied game over fests, I wanted to throw my PS4 out the window, he says. Now let's go back. He said in the previous paragraph that the way the game describes the difficulty settings is an insidious kind of peer pressure, and he says don't listen to that peer pressure. But then he says, at first I did. I listened to it. Why did you listen to it? You don't have to feel pressured. Why are you feeling pressured to play a game on a certain setting or to play it in some way that you don't want to play it? There's no pressure there. If you feel pressure because of the way it's described and you think to yourself, I don't want to be a baby, so I guess I'll play it on the normal difficulty setting because of the way the game describes the easy setting, you just didn't want to be in that group of people. I mean, that's something we just have to get over. Just play the game on whatever setting that you like. Then I'd inevitably get to a cutscene or a new location, like Roswell and instantly be transfixed again. I understand what he's saying there. While I was playing this game, I enjoy the gameplay, but as I said, I was in it for the story, and the story in this game is actually really well done. And some of the cutscenes are long, but when you get to them, it's kind of a relief. You know, you finish that section of fighting, and you've exited that level. It starts the next cutscene. You can sit back and watch sections of this well-crafted story. So he says, finally, I decided enough was enough, swallowed my pride, and set the difficulty all the way down to, can I play, Daddy? And he says, of course, that's the super easy setting. He says, you know what? It felt great. Everything immediately seemed to click into place. I was able to run and gun like the game obviously wanted me to, and feel like BJ was the one-man killing machine everyone kept saying he was. And I can see where he's coming from. If you just literally can't play it on the more difficult levels, there's no shame in playing it on the easy setting. And I understand what he's saying, that the way the game presents it to you, it makes you feel like there might be some shame for playing it on that setting. Or, he said because of the way these settings are worded, that he just refused to choose the easiest one right out the gate. So he wanted to play on normal. He played on Bring 'Em On. And that was too hard for him. And so that was the problem. Now, me, I couldn't care less what these say. I straight up, I had no shame. I went to Can I Play, Daddy? Because I wanted to see the story. I don't have anything to prove, and neither do you. So play the game however you enjoy the game. And he talks a little bit here about the story, and he goes into a little bit of a review here. But then he talks some more about the way the difficulty menu is set up. He says sticking a bonnet on BJ and infantilizing the player by analogy isn't exactly an invitation to explore playing Wolfenstein 2 differently. Even just calling one difficulty setting normal implies the others are deviant. When you're fighting to liberate the country from people who believe in eugenics in a game that celebrates difference and diversity, moralizing the difficulty around the struggle easy equals lazy or bad, and hard equals virtuous or good, he said that feels archaic. I don't think that's the point. They're not designing their menu system so that you think that easy equals lazy, or that somehow they could have known you would have taken offense to the way they describe the person that chooses the easy difficulty. I have a feeling they just thought it would be funny, and you really don't have to go much deeper than that. You look for ulterior motives in things, and you look to be upset about every little thing. You're gonna find something to be upset about. But stressing this much over a difficulty menu, I'm not sure what the point of that is. He said Assassin's Creed Origins combat-free setting, on the other hand, takes a more imaginative approach to what difficulty settings could be, rather than a binary scale based on loaded terms like easy and hard. How is that loaded terms? Easy and hard are not loaded terms. They mean things. Those are words that have meanings. And if you want to play the game on an easier setting, you choose easy. Or you choose Daddy, don't hurt me. Or can I play? Daddy, can I play is what this one says. I think that's right. Can I play, Daddy? If you want to play it on easy, choose that one. That's not a loaded term, easy and hard. It's what they are. It suggests creating modes, he says, based around what particular players want to do in a game. Some will want to fight, loot, and take on the game's most challenging combat scenarios. Assassin is in the title, after all, he said. Others, though, will no doubt be more interested in exploring the game's beautiful looking world and the stories taking place there, free from other concerns. That's great. The game designer behind Gritfish, John Kane, he said, recently offered some examples of other ways to do game difficulties. I see this. And these are basically true. I just said this. When I chose the very easiest setting in Wolfenstein 2, I said I chose that setting because I just want to see the story. And so this is true. The easiest one. I'm here for the story. That's fine. Perfectly descriptive. I'm here for a challenge. I'm here for a second and harder playthrough, which is a lot of times what people do. They play through the game on normal or easy, whichever one they want to go and see the story, and then they go back through and play on the harder difficulty levels for that extra challenge. I'm here to take photos. I want to play with the settings, and I'm okay if that breaks things. These options would be great to put in a menu for your difficulty settings. Or maybe you don't even call it difficulty settings. Maybe you just have these options for this is the style in which or I want to approach the game. And that's the way you handle that. But to say that we're going to put this style of menu in because words like normal and easy and hard are somehow loaded or there's some ulterior meaning behind them or they might upset people. I don't understand that. I do agree with this style of menu, but like I said, when I choose the easiest setting, I understand. I'm saying I'm here for the story. And so I don't get offended by that. And I mentioned before, I have absolutely nothing to prove. And I don't mind telling people that I play some games on the easiest setting. If that's what I want to play that game for, is just to see the story. Or maybe it is that I don't have as much time as I would like to spend on that game. And if I play it on a higher difficulty, it's going to add hours to my playthrough and maybe I don't have that kind of time, and I want to play through it as quickly as possible. So that's why I choose that easiest setting. And if these were my options here, certainly I would choose. I'm here for the story for some games where I'm trying to play through it more quickly. He says we've seen games try thinking outside this box in the past. Mass Effect 3 offered a narrative first mode that streamlined combat and exploration to let players focus on dialogue trees and character relationships. Deus Ex Mankind Divided did something similar. While the difficulty options didn't dramatically change that game, they were geared toward what the player was after story, the old school Deus Ex feel, etc., he said, rather than a hierarchy of perceived gameplay purity. And I like that. That's a good idea. I wish most games would employ that kind of option, just to ask straight out, or are you playing this game just to see the story? Maybe you want a little bit of a challenge, but not so much that you get frustrated with it. And to me, that's what the easy setting is. And he says at the end of the day, life's too short to worry about whether you're playing something the right way. And if you're just starting Wolfenstein 2, he said, don't feel bad about turning the difficulty down. And I would second that. I would say that it's a little bit, you're taking it a little bit too seriously if you truly have a serious problem or you are somehow offended by this options menu. Or the idea that somehow you're being goaded into playing on a harder difficulty, or that you had your feelings hurt because of the way this portrays the easiest setting. And so you may feel like, well, they're calling me a baby or a wuss because I played on the easiest setting. But just get over that. Just get over it. Play the game. Don't be so touchy. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to bring more videos your way very soon.